showtime, everybody, and welcome to an all-new Downright Sports. I am your host, the Notorious Sports Critic, Brent Reid, coming at you in episode number, get to the script, 19 for this year. Normally, it takes me a while to get to episode 20. I feel like I thought I did less episodes this year, and I think I'm doing more. If you've never listened or heard the show before or watched the show, it is a sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. You can listen to the show on Spotify or go to the DJ Chase Radio, the DJ Chase Radio app. Listen to the show Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. You can follow the show on all social media platforms, and you can watch live on YouTube and Facebook, which normally I do this on Tuesdays, but I'm doing it today. Kind of had an injury. Let me give you guys a small story. So where I work, we did this, we kind of went and we played a little flag football. And before that, we, BS'd around and threw the ball up a little bit, kind of got some, took a couple shots on basketball and had like an impromptu lazy game of 21. But I told myself that, look, we're going to take it light. We're not going hard. We're going to take it easy. And when we were doing the flag football, I did. I took it very easy. I didn't even run hardly. I kind of trotted in place. And one play, I line up on a receiver, and he goes, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I go, "No, I really don't." But I was like, I don't want to be the old man that can't do anything. And he took off, and I was with him, and then he hit that second burst. And I was like, "Where's my second burst?" And I felt something pull in my basically I pulled my hamstring. It's like a grade 1 pull, which isn't as severe. And I felt it pop, which at first, I was like, damn it, I didn't pop my Achilles again. I was happy it wasn't that. My second thing I thought was I popped my quad, which would have really sucked, and I'm glad it wasn't that. So it seemed like it was just, I don't think it was anything else. I'm a lot better than I was Sunday, Monday, and even yesterday. I've iced it and elevated it and haven't really gained, but I could tell I can't move laterally a little bit. So, I feel like I'm getting better and better, but it was a lot of fun to get out there and, BS. We played in this indoor facility that was pretty cool. I haven't played on turf in years. But it was really cool. Get out there and let that thing fly. My team, I got picked almost last, funny enough. But my team was the girls' team. None of them played or we even watched football. So it's kind of cool to kind of coach them and look, go do this. And then, it was wild. If they catch the ball, we win. They were open. And it was a couple close call passes, but it was fun, and I gotta get back out there, but it's going to be, again, moderate speed, very moderate speed. All right. So what do we have to discuss on today's episode? So I started the show I had a list of things I wanted to cover, and ultimately I came down on a couple topics. My hands are so ashy. It never fails before I go to do an episode where my hands get, I don't know if it's some people get, if you hear it, that's me putting the lotion. It puts the lotion on. No, some people get sweaty palms. I get ashy palms. It's the craziest thing. You can hear it. And the reason what made me start wearing lotion on the show is I did an episode. I was listening to a playback of an episode because I was editing, and you can hear my hands touch the paper. And it just sounded like paper on paper, or cardboard on cardboard. So, I can't do a show with ashy hands. You know what I mean? It's a bad look. It's a bad look. Anyway, the World Baseball Classic kicks off today, in fact. And I was going to do the episode. I was going to do the first segment on that, previewing it. As I'm started looking at the roster for Team USA, primarily, I noticed something that was a little alarming to me, but I shouldn't be surprised by it. It was basically there's only 2 black players on Team USA. which for a certain age group, anybody younger than 40, um, may not be alarming to you. But I followed baseball my whole life, and WBC. I follow baseball my whole life. I know the history of the game. I know the importance of the game to for Black people in the Black community. I in the past like what baseball had did in for the country and etc. To look at the classic, to see Team USA roster, to only see two Black players on the roster, zero. If I'm not mistaken, there's one Black coach on the whole team. When you got Dusty Baker coaching um, the Nicaraguan team, and Dusty Baker has a World Series. When you got Ron Washington, who's in San Francisco hitting ground balls, who took two teams to the World Series in the Texas Rangers. Um, you got CC Sabathia going to the Hall of Fame. Like it's just like where was the representation, and it made me. That's when I had to kind of start looking at what has happened to Black heroes in baseball. So I went down a rabbit hole. Here we go. Here we go. And basically, what I settled on is a couple different reasons why baseball is no longer prevalent in the Black community. And I've done an episode on this, I'm sure, in the past. But I think I kind of skimmed over it, a little bit of afraid on ruffle feathers and have people, was he going there? I'm going to go there. And my wife told me to go there today. Not just in that, but in another topic we're going to discuss later in the show. But what happened? So, for decades, heck, to turn the century, baseball was always the sport for Black people. Up until probably the 90s, realistically. Like, I'm going to be real, like up until the 90s. My grandfather, who lived to, I think, 79, both my grandfathers, neither one of them watched football. Neither. Neither one of them even watched basketball. My grandpa James, my dad's dad, he watched baseball and NASCAR. That was it. My grandfather, my mother's father, he only watched baseball. And then in the off season, he just watched John Wayne movies. My uncles, they watched basketball and baseball, but baseball was their first love. My uncle Clifford told me how he went from being a Dodgers fan to a Yankee fan because they took the Dodgers out of New York and moved them to LA. But everyone in my family was a Dodger fan except for my grandfather, all because of Jackie Robinson, 1942. I used to know the date off like the top of my head. It's 42 or is it 46? It's 42. We're going to stick with 42, and if I'm wrong, I'll correct it. But Jackie breaks the color barrier. In fact, the little history, the reason why Blacks weren't allowed in baseball, the major league, MLB, as you know it today, was formed in like the early 1900 to be exact, when the then National League and then American League formed. The American League, one of the American League owners, I want to say it was the owner of the White Sox, basically was like, yeah, we'll merge, but I don't want Black players in my league. At the time, the National League actually had Black players. They had players of color that played in the league for many years until they merged. Money changes everything. They merge, and thus you don't see a Black player in the league until Jackie breaks the color barrier in 42. April 15th, 1942. Am I right? 47. Gosh darn it. I think the 42 of the jersey. I used to know that by heart. But I knew the date, April 15th, 1947, Jackie breaks the color barrier. It's basically like 40-something years. But more than that, because baseball had been around. But like 47 years, there were no Black players allowed in the game. Jackie breaks through, and then after that, it's player after player after player after player after player. And if you go back and look at who some of the best players in the game were, well, it happened to be players of, as they used to say, color. Whether it was Bob Gibson, Reggie Jackson, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron. I could keep. I'm blanking here, but Roy Campanella. Then late, you got Ricky Henderson. You had Joe Morgan, a two-time MVP. You had Chris Chambers on the Yankees who played first. But like there was you can almost point to an MLB team and you can find, you can find players. Heck, you can find in some cases 2 players, 3 players. It never became where like in football or even the NBA where blacks were the majority of players, but there were more of a representation. And then the 80s definitely, and then the 90s, you would kind of start to see the shift with ESPN and the excitement of the highlight play from the NBA, whether it was Jordan, Bird, Magic. As time went on, you would see dunks from guys like Sean Kemp, dunks from guys like Scottie Pippen, Patrick Ewing. If it was the NFL, the NFL began its glamour and its glitz because the NFL took the television way before the NBA and baseball did, when you had the NFL films. And then as time went on, you could see the explosiveness in players like OJ, Jim Brown, Lynn Swann, great defenses by Deacon Joe. So a lot of black guys saw themselves in that, and then it was the excitement. And even then, if you had polled a lot of athletes in the late 70s and the 80s, they would have went baseball, probably basketball, track and field, boxing, then football. And then as time went on and as football really became more mainstream, again, with the help of ESPN, you could see it kind of change. Now, it's not because of the pay structure, because baseball pays players way more than they did football players and basketball players. But when you look at it and what happened, well, it's a lot of things. One, baseball is no longer in the community. There is no baseball in black communities. And you're saying, well, no, it's really not. There's a basketball court everywhere. It used to be baseball, but any kid without a parent, any kid with a single parent, basically can grab a ball, dribble by himself. Every kid learns how to dribble, and then go to a court and just chuck up shots. You can. It's an easy thing. Well, what about football? Well, high school, and I've told this story before, pretty much in high school, black kids get groomed from youth league on. They kind of get groomed. Yo, that kid's an athlete. Put him in football. Year round, just put him in football. Train him, run him up, put him in football. Especially if he runs track and field. Just track and field, football. Keep him in shape, keep him going. And if you want to play basketball, cool, football. Put him in it. And then you think about how football has more pomp and circumstance. Homecoming games, cheerleaders, homecoming king, Friday night games. It's a must watch. It's more of an attractive thing. Baseball is every day. Ain't nobody showing up to a game every day. And in high school, there's no, even in Little League, it's not. Little League used to be when I was a kid. Little League was a thing. I don't know if it's the same now because travel ball, but I remember when I was a kid, Little League, food, the hot dogs, the concession stands, games on games. But when you think youth league football, again, one day, everybody gets together, parents tailgate, moms make shirts and et cetera, et cetera. So the sexiness will tie back in where basketball plays in. So now when you look at the community, you have the glitz and the shine of, hey, football's more showman. I want to go do that. Baseball is a lot of, no matter how great a player you are in baseball, like there's a lot of chill time in baseball. It's not as much flashiness as you would think. So, if I'm a black kid, how can I play baseball? Well, it's a little difficult, especially in the youth league realm. If you strip apart a lot of the minutia, the racist undertones and stuff like that, and just keep it 100, it's harder in not every case, but I want to say a decent chunk, it's harder for a young black kid to go play AAU baseball. All right? Looking at the course, and I Googled it just for the state of Pennsylvania where the show is filmed, and if you don't know that, just look at the location. When you look at travel ball, AAU ball, it's $20, not a lot, $20-$25 to sign them up. But with all the fees and everything, it's anywhere between $5,000 to $2,000 per season. That includes anywhere between $100 to $300 for jerseys, hats, and pants, and socks. Like, that's crazy. There's an annual fee of like $970, an AAU membership. That price can vary. So now, and then not to mention, so if you think back to if you're my age or older, Little League, I don't even know I gotta ask my mom when she played for Little League, but I looked up local community leagues is anywhere between $90 to $125. And they get a shirt. The shirt used to have a sponsor on it. The team me and my cousin Chris played on was the Mulligan Motors. I used to have the shirt for years, but it was like a local Mulligan Motors. Travel Ball now is Francis and Friends Travel Ball, and you pay and all this, and your parent got to drive you from here to there and back this way and that way. It's difficult, and I've been tiptoeing. It's difficult if you're a single black parent, or it's difficult if you're a single white parent, but let's just keep the shit a buck. If you're a black parent and you're trying to get your kids to travel ball games, I even Googled this. How about this? I looked this up. The average black person does not work 9 to 5. The average white person does. Average black person works in retail, the service industry, or the medical industry, like nursing and stuff like that. And those hours, in a lot of cases, don't give them the time to go to baseball. Baseball games tend to be earlier than basketball games. Baseball games tend to start like around 4 because it's based on the sun. It's an outdoor event. So now you're asking this parent to get off work early, take their kid to this, to that, and it's difficult for them. Especially, you look at some of the I think my cousin Serena tried to do travel ball softball, and it was insane. You playing like 4 to 5 hours away from where you live. So it's almost the game is being taken away because of the way the style is played. It's almost like an exclusive club. To play baseball, you got to be part of this club. Now you're saying to yourself, well, Brent, there's AAU basketball. There is. And believe it or not, the price for AAU basketball is very close to the price of baseball. But there's a difference. There is. The basketball, from what my research showed me, they do more fundraising. There's also more, if the players of a certain standard, there's almost sponsors for that player, wink, wink, because this kid could be a pipeline to something bigger. You got an AAU kid, he's a beast, somebody may sponsor him, now he's on the team, it's covered and paid for. He'll get a ride, no biggie. Football, no AAU, football straight high school, you know what I mean? And that's all provided for you. So, if you're a parent, put the kid in the cheapest sport. It's not independently just the baseball. Tiger Woods broke through and became the biggest athlete in the world back in 1998 to about 2008. 98 to about 2000. He's the biggest athlete in the world, but you didn't see an infusion of new black golfers. Tennis, you did. Venus and Serena were murdering the game. You did it. After Venus and Serena, there's Coco Gauff, and Osaka only claims Japanese. Pretty sure she said, no. Anyway, you didn't, I'm just saying, on men's and women's side, you don't see it. Why? Because financially, they've become sports that you can't afford to play. To play tennis, you gotta believe, like where I live in my community, there's a tennis court. But like to play and all this stuff, you gotta be part of a club. My mom said when she played tennis, it didn't cost nothing. You used to see people on the court all the time, mainly because of Arthur Ashe, but it was always an easy game and it was cheap. A racket didn't cost anything. Tennis balls didn't cost anything. They would play all the time. My dad talked about it too. They would play. It was just easy to play. Now, not so much. Now, if you really want to pull the curtain back, in so many of the communities in the 80s, you want to know what happened to baseball. In so many of the communities in the 80s, a lot of the outside places got destroyed because of the crack epidemic. So, like, did you want your kid going to a baseball field where in the dugout there's a crackhead smoking crack? Or in the tennis court there's something going on? Like, that's real dum-dum-dum. That's real stuff. So, what can happen, basically, to bring it back? I don't know if you can. CeCe Sabathia is going into the Hall of Fame this year. CeCe could possibly be the last black pitcher to go to the Baseball Hall of Fame for maybe the next 40 years. Maybe. You point to a roster and find me the next black pitcher. Seriously. Hell, CeCe's the first black pitcher to go to the Hall of Fame in a long time. Black pitcher. That's Spanish. African American. I couldn't tell you the last African American pitcher to go to the Hall of Fame. I'm never going to look it up because I don't think it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened in a very long time. I'm trying to think of all the pitchers. Heck, CeCe could be the last black player to make the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. There are guys that is floating out there. Gary Sheffield should already be in. But, like, they could possibly have. Now, there are MLB, not from lack of trying, has put together programs. They've honored the past. Hell, they've allowed the Negro League stats to be included in the past stats of the Major League. They've included it. It's changed the home run champion and the hitting champions. But no matter how much Major League Baseball goes, hey, we want to include black history. It kind of seems like blacks don't want to be included in that history anymore. I remember going to high school. I remember going to college. I'm not going to use high school because my baseball team in high school, we were 50-50. Hell, my coach was black for a season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons. Roger was the head coach for a while. And then later, it was another after I graduated. But when I got to college, I never forget, the first person to speak to me asked me, do you play any sports? I go, I play baseball. And they go, why? I went to a historical black college, HBCU. They said, why? And literally said, you should probably just play football. And I'm like, I don't play football. My baseball team at our HBCU was so disrespected. We played on a little league field that they had to extend the fence on. All right? Our stipends, our meal stipend, was less than the basketball and football team. I only know that because I had football players tell me that. And our bats were I only played 1 season. I don't know if they got better after I left. I haven't talked to anybody. I don't think it did. But our bats were considerably lesser than the bats for the other teams. You could hear it when we played. So if you're thinking it's a white thing, it's not a white and black thing. At this point, blacks just don't want to be a part of baseball anymore, and it's sad. It really is, because baseball, every sport is a thinking person sport, but baseball is one of those sports where, like, you're required to be selective. You're required to really think. Your athleticism can't trump what's about to happen. It can't. You can't use your athleticism to just win or get better. You have to work at your craft. You have to get good at it. And it's a hard game to play. And it's sad that we're getting closer and closer to sunset on the black player in the game. Really are. And that's where we're headed. Anyway, sorry to have gotten heavy with you here. I'm actually shocked I got 20 minutes out of this segment. I am good. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. And we're going to come back. What are we going to discuss? Well, Luka Doncic just ain't it, in my opinion. Yeah, we're going there. I got a new favorite. And it's no longer LeBron. It's now the Luka. And we're going to discuss that in our next segment here on Downright Sports. If you like the show and you like what you're hearing, tell a friend to tell a friend. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, guess what? You're going to go black. I'm sorry. We're going to go black, but we're going to be right back. We're going to be right back. One more. Why do I do this? I need a break. That's why. And I don't have an assistant or a special remote that has been invented yet for me to stop it on the things I'm recording. I'm just complaining at this point. Notorious Sports, everybody.